Yes, Trinidad. Hey Roses, I'm back to do another manga review. I know I've been doing these quite often recently, but I've heard from, some friends of mine, but also people in the manga community to give my thoughts on certain series, especially if it's an older series that my library has, so that's why I'm doing them. And today I'm going to be talking about the Cain Saga. Now you notice there's 2 volume 4s here. It's part 1, part 2, so technically 5 volumes, but they say it's part 4. So this follows a young man named Earl Cain C. Hargreaves, which I believe he's on the cover of this one. With the wings. And basically, I'm gonna try to give as few spoilers as I can, because again, this is an older series. It's the prequel to the Godchild series, if you guys have read that series by the same mangaka, Kaori Yuki. But basically, his family treated him horribly throughout his entire life, even after his father was supposedly killed. I say supposedly because Cain thought he killed him, but there's some events that suggest otherwise. I'm not going to say if he actually is dead or not, but there are some things that suggest otherwise. So, when he was a child, because he was shunned so much from his family, which you find out the reason for that again later on, let's just say it has something to do with who his parents were. That's all I'm gonna say. He gets found by his butler, Riff, in the garden as a child, crying and upset about something. And Riff goes to him and says, what are you crying about? And he goes, my entire family, treats me bad. I get whipped by my father, and for being trying to be more submissive, supposedly, which I still find that ridiculous. Don't whip kids. That's just like a real big thing I want to get out there. Just don't do that, because it's messed up. Anyway. So, Riff says, I'll be your butler and, live only for you because I want to see you have a smile on your face, basically. And so the two of them form a really close bond. Riff was apparently going to become a doctor and go into medical practice, but he became so protective of Cain that he decided he was just going to be a butler and tend to him. Also kind of helps that he has some medical knowledge, because if you don't know, Cain, I'm gonna say this because a lot of people in the manga give the Hargreaves family flack for this. Cain has an extensive poison collection. He's fascinated with poisons for some reason. Don't know why, that's never been explained. So, yeah. And the fact that Riff is a doctor who can help with certain ones, I mean, it's kind of iffy. But, yeah. So, basically, this starts off with him potentially being betrothed to a woman that he was childhood friends with. I say friends very loosely because he was friends with his brother, but not necessarily the sister. He tried to get the sister more involved in games that they were playing, but the brother shut him down. And there's this whole big issue with that, because obviously Cain doesn't want that, and the girl wants it because, she likes Cain. She appreciates the fact that he tried to include her when they were kids, but for Cain, it's just, he's not the type to want to do arranged marriages, even if it would better the Hargreaves family line, so anyway, it ends up being a whole different spiel involved with that. Again, I'm not going to say anything else due to spoilers. I'm trying to give as minimal things as I possibly can, just like the basic storyline. But you also meet the girl's older brother later on in the book, and you find out he has a certain condition. Again, I'm trying really hard not to give any spoilers, and it's very hard because I can go on about this series and Godchild, which I'll probably do Godchild next. I don't have the volumes to show, but I did read all 8 volumes of Godchild. But, Cain also has a half-sister named Merryweather, and the older brother of his fiancée actually takes a liking to Merryweather, even though he is probably 18 and she is 12, I think. So that's a bit of a problem, in my opinion. Anyway, I just find it ridiculous that the author even put that plot point in there. Personally, I'm just like, don't put that plot point in there. Let me adjust this a little bit. There we go. I'm just like, do not put that plot point in there. Personally, I just would not. So, but this also follows him trying to unravel the secrets of his birth, all the while solving mysteries that come his way. He also is known for helping solve cold cases and murders that happen in London, because this takes place in London in the 1900s, I believe. Either 1800s or 1900s, but I'm pretty sure it's 1900s. So, it's basically about him, you know, trying to help the populace, but also figure out who his mother was, because he doesn't really know who his mother was. He knows who his father was, but events happen in the book where the mother is not very loving towards him. I'll just phrase it that way. Just again, because of everything that happened involving in his birth, which again, do not want to spoil that. So yeah, if you guys like, you know, murder mysteries or like even some amnesia plots, because like I said, he doesn't know who his mother is, and there's a lot of like family dynamics with aristocrats and things like that, because he is an aristocrat. So if you're interested in things like that, I would definitely recommend these 4 if you can find it, because it's a very, very old series. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna really say about this one. But hopefully you enjoyed this review over the Cain Saga. Like I said, I tried to keep it as spoiler-free as I possibly could. So hopefully I did okay with that, but like I said, Godchild is just as weird. I guess I can go into Godchild. It takes place several years later, because I think Cain in this one, in the Cain Saga, is 15 or 16, and in Godchild he's 17 or 18, so a couple years later. The volume's over here on the table. And basically it follows him trying to maintain his status as an aristocrat while also trying to protect Merryweather, because she did not grow up in aristocratic society. She grew up in a different way, because she's Cain's half-sister, so there are whole issues with that, which, again, I'm not going to go into. I'm sure those of you who watch my manga reviews are, like, really tired of that phrase. So, apologies. But, overall, between Cain Saga and Godchild, I liked Godchild a little bit more. The Cain Saga is a prequel to Godchild, but you do not have to read them in a certain order. I read Godchild first, and when I read the Cain Saga, the author was writing in the sidebars as if you read Godchild first anyway. But you don't necessarily have to read them in any particular order. That's just the order that I chose. So, also, you meet this character named Oscar in Godchild who wants to be Merryweather's betrothed, but I'm sitting here going, you are a man in his 20s and you are after a 14-year-old. Get your life together. That's just how I feel about it personally. And even Cain is like, I'm not giving you my sister. Like, quit asking me. And quit calling me brother. You are not family. Like, leave. So, yeah. Whole bunch of different elements in Godchild. Those are like the main ones that stick out just because I'm just like, why again with the potential teenager adult sexual thing. That's not a trope that I enjoy personally. I know some people do, but I'm not one of them. So yeah. Now I'm going to let you guys go. It's been a minute since I've read Godchild, so some details are kind of fuzzy, and I don't want to give anything important away because some of the things that I'm remembering are like cases that he worked on and certain characters and things like that. So yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video though, and I will talk to you guys soon in another video at another time. Bye, roses. Annyeong.